So, there's been a lot of talk about the content of this documentary, which is available on Netflix and other platforms. I've been putting together my own big test recently, so I haven't gotten that much into it, but I wish to weigh in with my experiences regarding the two quite specific topics. Let's handle them one at a time. But first, a word from a trusted friend of the Globebusters and FE Core.
I'm noticing there's a lot of chatter going on in the chats in different chat rooms of different ballers and flat earthers about what Jaren and Bob are supposed to have proved. It's interesting how the ballers are perceiving that which is supposed to have been proved by Bob at Globebusters and Jaren at Jarenism. And they're just literally cherry picking the first line of a two-sentence or a two-legged sentence, and they'll just accept anything that supports their decision and completely and utterly ignore the rest of it that does not.
Now, having heard that, let's not forget Riley's own words on the 5th of February were this.
Well, cherry picking's how you win arguments. Otherwise, if you didn't cherry pick, you'd never win an argument. I don't see the problem.
So, absolutely no hypocrisy there. But we'll come back to that. A while back, Sean Hufford and I had a hangout, and Sean brought something to my attention. He told me that Globebusters had acquired a $25,000 gyro, and that Bob had also previously discussed crowdfunding it.
So if we can get one of these things, and like I said, they openly acknowledge that ring laser gyros are sensitive enough, absolutely, in fact, they tout it, that they're sensitive enough to detect the rotation of the Earth. I think it'd be really cool if we were able to crowdfund one. If we were unable to do this, I'm going to, get in touch with some people at DIA.
Then Bob, in another hangout, still prior to me knowing about it, stated that a $20,000 gyro was acquired and rotation tests had already been performed.
When we got our gyro, and by the way, this gyro is an extremely mainstream gyro. It's used by the Defense Department. It cost us around $20,000 for this device, and we have run several tests with it, and I'm going to reveal one of them to you, and others we're going to be revealing at a later time. So what did we detect with our fiber optic gyro when we plugged it in and turned it on? Well, like many other people that registered that use these things, we also detected a roughly 15 degree per hour rotation, okay? Or a 1 revolution per day, okay, measurement.
When Sean told me about it, Jaren quickly released a video calling both of us liars.
So we just got accused of taking $25,000 from subscribers through a crowdfunding campaign, spending it on a ring laser gyro, proving that the Earth actually spun, and then we are going to sell back the gyro to eBay to pocket the money and split the $25,000 three ways. Did you notice they forgot to provide any evidence?
But of course, this is what Jaren does when he wants to defend something, even though it's already been made public by Bob. But we'll come back to that as well.
He was saying that it was me that did these fiber optic gyro tests, and no, it wasn't me, and I've claimed this before.
Well, Bob, you did say we, so perhaps the stated misunderstanding is on the part of those who put out the information. You, Bob.
Go back and watch some Globebusters videos. Maybe you'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a second. Bob has a talk with one of the people involved in the documentary. These are his quotes. But the rotation is not looking good for us at this point. He starts to laugh. We don't want to blow this, We've got $20,000 in this freaking gyro. But yeah, if we dumped what we found right now, it would be bad. He starts laughing. It would be bad. And then, of course, while on camera, leans over to the guy from the documentary and says, "What I just told you is confidential." And now on to Jaren. Oh, Jaren. Back in 2017, Jaren put together a test. Actually, 2 of them. The first one was with posts along a canal.
So that's why on my experiment, we're doing it differently to where that doesn't matter, the distance from the center of the Earth, because we're going to shoot a laser across 2 posts 3 miles apart and measuring the distance from the water level to the place that beam crosses. We're going to make sure that
which
the first
ultimately
beam and the
failed,
last beam-
for the stated reason of the difficulty aligning the laser. The second was with panels with holes in them to shine a laser or a lamp through. Jaron had made several videos advertising his plan and his setup, which generated a whole lot of hype. Some of the techniques he stated he was going to employ were scrutinized by myself and others, as well as also modeled out. We ultimately drew our conclusions and awaited the test results, which never came. However, in the meantime, Jaron offered no consistent summary or footage of what happened, nor did any of the folks who were stated to be at the test site. Well, one Glober did. Jaron made many posts on my channel explaining his position before he ever told his own viewers. We have a backup experiment. If you are seeing through this hole, the next hole, and seeing a light hit the backboard at 17 feet off the water, the Earth is flat. If he's holding it up to 23 feet high, and we're seeing the light, the Earth is curved. I should only be able to see what's at 17 feet. No bias there. Then he asked the guy downrange, Enrique, how high is your light? Enrique says 17 feet. Jaron doesn't see the light in the camera. Instead, he says, it's just, we don't see you, Enrique. Lift up your light way above your head, Jaron says. Then the light appears in the display of the camera. And Jaron, of course, says, interesting. Now, just recently, Bob and Jaron complained about the apparently misleading footage in this documentary, and how the producers just wanted to down flat earthers or something with a biased documentary.
You know, it's at this point now, I know that they just made that film to troll flat earth, because out of all that material, it seems like he purposely assembled my part in it and Jaron's part in it to deliberately make the science part of that particular documentary make us look foolish.
Well, to be honest with you, Bob, after seeing the documentary, he didn't have to work too hard to do that. Jaron even went so far as to imply that the footage, which is in possession of the producers, would actually vindicate him and his test.
because they just completely cut out a portion of the testing, the one portion that would have led people to say, oh, that looks like it could be globe proof. And they put it at the end of their video and then didn't include anything else. It wasn't as if that was ever the end result or even a result of the experiment. It was one of many. There was many people there, globe believers, who all walked away saying, no, nothing was proven here today.
The same test, which he stated on several occasions, was actually a failure. So I'm not sure what he was looking to get vindicated on.
But let's be honest about it. If I did show the other footage, it would show that they completely misrepresented the experiment.
So the documentary misrepresented the experiment. I invite everybody to go over to Sean Hufford's channel and look up the video Jaronism, that globehead at your test has spoken up. In there, Sean discusses a post that was made below a video from Globebusters discussing the test called Flat Earth NASA Bashing 2.0, a video that you won't find on Globebusters anymore. In there is a rather long and detailed account of what actually took place during that test. And it even mentions the quote of "that's interesting" from Jaron himself. So either this guy could see the future, or everything in the documentary is exactly the way it went down at the test site. And this video is dated shortly after the test was done. Now let's bring this all together. Bob's gyro, emitted by Bob, measured a 15-degree per hour movement. Now, of course, Bob went on in that discussion to blame the reading on the theorized ether, which, from a scientific standpoint, would be absolutely groundbreaking if he could actually, in fact, conclude that, open to both praise and scrutiny from the proper scientific community. Jaron claims that there is footage out there vindicating his FE claims with his canal test, but the footage is apparently being held hostage by the documentary producers, the test that he himself said was a failure. Now, these two things alone would be critical in the truth movement, to document and correlate, to build a case for Jaron and Bob and the whole Flat Earth community. So to preserve this, what did they do? Well, Bob
Go back and watch some Globebusters videos. Maybe you'll figure it out.
removed all the discussions he had about funding the high dollar gyro from the Seventh Day Truth Seekers YouTube channel. And the announcement of the test results that he had on Globebusters, that's gone too. Now, it might have been just removed from the public, but nevertheless, those videos are gone. Now, Jaron, he removed all the videos about the planning and invitations and trials and discussion and processes related to his canal tests, as well as any and all video materials surrounding that on Globebusters at the same time. Why? It's quite simple. The fact is that the documentary did not lie about what they showed. The documentary crew would actually leave themselves open to legal problems had they in fact lied. Jaron did make observations impossible on Flat Earth, so he deleted his material so that sometime later he could just say that the documentary producers lied.
Because they just completely cut out a portion of the testing. But let's be honest about it. If I did show the other footage, it would show that they completely misrepresented the experiment.
Bob did make a 15 degree per hour measurement consistent with the globe, but then removed all of that content for most likely the same reason.
It seems like he purposely assembled my part in it and Jaron's part in it to deliberately make the science part of that particular documentary make us look foolish.
This means that both Jaron and Bob have tested, measured, with repeatable experimentation, things which proved the globe, but did not want to damage their income and donation flow, so they buried the subject. Occam's razor. It's pretty simple to see what went down here. Oh, and I just like this little tidbit.
The estimated population of America right now, as of January 2019, is about 333 million people. And so 2% of that, get this kind of cracked me up, is 2% of that is 6,660,000 people that believe...
Of course it is.
that believe that the earth is flat. And that's just in America, right? Just in America.
2% of Americans is still 8 times fewer than the amount of Americans who still believe in Bigfoot. So don't pat yourself on the back just yet. Oh, and one little side note. The little opening clip where Riley states that cherry picking is how you win debates, just like his Globebuster buddies, Riley deleted that video too. Go figure. Y'all have a nice day.
Oh my God.